Let's just do a little recap of where we are. We now can execute these functions based on when the button is pushed. We can at least get one of the values out of the input screen, out of the HTML page. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy, and we should be able to do this. We're going to be able to copy our execution of this directly from here and put it into our execution. Now, if we look at it, we do have a couple problems. What we're going to do is we're going to say const result is equal to, all right, so we're executing this function, but we're hard coding the values. So what we're going to do is we're going to not hard code these values. We're going to actually input them, and I'm just going to do it like this because that makes our life a little easier, okay? So what I'm going to do is this is actually going to be this guy, and I'm going to cheat a little bit and copy them from our other code. So as you can see, we've changed this. Okay, and we don't need that, or that. So now we've called the function. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do and print the result. Now again, that's the fewest lines of code I could actually write to get it to work. And again, we got live load working on. So if I sent it $1,000 and 1% interest, and I said now compute, it's going to come up and hey, those numbers look right. So the next step I got to do is take those numbers and put them into here. Now again, this isn't exactly the classiest way of doing it, but I'm going to actually show you our way to do it, and we'll just go from there. All right, and what we're going to do is we've printed the result, and now what I'm going to do, let's go through this, is I'm now taking the results, the 3 results, and I'm putting them into the values. So I don't need this anymore. I'll comment that out. Okay, and again, save that. We'll execute it and go again 1,000, 1, compute, yay. And if I change this to 10, compute, yay, and I change that to all right, so we got our code working. Now, there's one little enhancement that I want to make to this is what I'm going to do is not only do I want to calculate when I push this button, I actually want to calculate when any one of these numbers change, okay? Which is kind of a nice little enhancement. You don't need to decide whether that's a good idea or not. And what I'm going to do, and that's part of the reason why I created this calc function. So when they push this button, they get it. But I'm going to also do this. I'm not going to call it right now. I want to make sure that I'm going to actually get the right numbers. So I'm just going to make sure. So what I've done is I'm adding an event listener to the whole form that as soon as anything changes, it's just going to do a console log inside loan change data. Okay, so let's just see if that works. Okay, and I put 1,000 in here. Great, inside of it, 1,000, or no, let's just say 1. Yep, 1, yep. And I get to compute. Yes, it worked. All right, so I'm going to actually change that in the code now. If you notice, I'm going to actually here take out this console log and call calc. So now every time a piece of data is changed, I'm going to actually call the calc. All right. So let's have a look and see what that looks like. So now if I put 1,000 in here, oh my goodness, we have a problem. So look what it's doing now. It's actually coming back with NaN, which means not a number. So I'm actually getting an error. So our first instinct might be, we got to fix the code. But our first instinct, and this is really important, our first instinct has to be, how do we create a test to cause this problem? And so that's all we're going to do in this segment, and then how we correct it is besides the point, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go and figure out how do I create a test to cause that problem. So we're going to do it. We're going to actually go down here. And we're going to, instead of passing it these numbers, we're going to pass it quote, quote, and quote, quote. So if we pass it all blanks, then I expect the answer to be, oops, there we go. My editor's helping me too much. There, that was a lot of work for that. Here we'll do it different. There we go. All right, I want everyone to look at this test. Ah, did it again. Okay, there we go. Sometimes my editor just helps me a little too much. All right, let's save that. Let's run these tests again. And I think we're going to find that this test will fail. All right, last time we ran it, they all worked. It comes back and it gives us, it gives us an error because we in fact had a syntax error. Okay, we'll just have a look and see how we can tell that was a syntax error. So this is a syntax error and it tells me where the error is, okay? So let's save that and run it again. So let's be clear about what happened. We put in some user input. That user input caused a problem that we had not anticipated in the test, which is normal. We go back and we update the test to create the problem. We do not fix our code. That's a bad thing. We create the test. Now that we have a test, let's have a look at it. Oh, look at that. It's coming back as NaN, and we actually want it to be blank. Okay? So then what we do is we would go in and we correct our code. How we correct it is not that important. If you want to go in and have a look at the repository, how it actually got changed, go ahead and have a look at the repository. But for now, we're done. Congratulations that you got through that. That's a big section and it's a huge concept. So I just appreciate everybody that's actually gone through it. I would appreciate any feedback that you have on this, on your weekly progress reports, if you thought it was useful or too long or whatever. Okay, thank you very much, you guys. Signing out.